The world is obsessed with noise. It craves attention, thrives on drama, and rewards those who scream the loudest. But true power doesn't scream. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need to. True power is silent. It moves in the shadows, builds in the darkness, and strikes when the world least expects it. If you're still chasing the spotlight, you're already weak. But if you're ready to embrace the silence, to move unseen, and to let your actions speak louder than words, then this is for you. Welcome to the art of the silent storm. Silence is not just the absence of sound. It's an unmatched force, a weapon wielded by the wise and the strategic. It is the ability to move unseen, to act without warning, and to strike without hesitation. In a world where noise is constant, where people rush to announce their intentions, their victories, and even their struggles, true power belongs to those who know when to stay quiet. Those who reveal their every step invite resistance before they are ready. They give their enemies time to prepare, to counter, to weaken them before the battle even begins. They speak of their plans, and in doing so, they surrender the element of surprise. But the silent ones, they do not seek validation through words. They do not waste their energy on empty declarations. Instead, they observe, they listen, they calculate, and when they move with precision, with intent, with the weight of preparation behind them. Silence is not passivity. It is control. It is the patience to wait for the perfect moment. It is the discipline to restrain impulse in favor of strategy. It is the confidence to know that actions, not words, determine the outcome of the game. History favors those who understand the power of silence. Empires have been built in secrecy, revolutions have been sparked in whispers, and the greatest victories have come not from the loudest, but from those who strike when it's already too late for anyone to stop them. To master silence is to master the art of war, of power, of influence. It is to become the unseen force that shapes reality, the presence that is felt but never predicted. And in a world that underestimates the quiet ones, those who move in silence will always hold the greatest advantage. Momentum is an unstoppable force. It's the silent current that turns small efforts into an avalanche, the hidden energy that transforms struggle into dominance. But the most powerful momentum, it happens in the dark, away from prying eyes, beyond the reach of doubters and enemies. The world is filled with watchers, those who question, who doubt, who sabotage. If they see you rising too soon, they will try to pull you down before you take flight. They will inject fear into your vision, distractions into your focus, and obstacles into your path. That's why the greatest moves, the most legendary rises, happen in silence. When no one sees your progress, no one can stop it. When no one hears your footsteps, no one can block your path. You build in the shadows, stacking bricks of discipline, consistency, and sacrifice. You refine your skills, sharpen your mind, and strengthen your will, all in silence. No applause, no validation, just relentless execution. And then, one day, the world wakes up to a force they cannot stop. By the time they notice, you're already too far ahead. The momentum you've built is no longer just movement, it's dominance, it's power, it's inevitability. Those who succeed loudly attract resistance. Those who succeed in silence become unstoppable. Choose your path wisely. Noise is the refuge of the weak. It's the armor of the insecure, the disguise of the powerless. They fill the air with words, boasts, empty threats, exaggerated plans. Because deep down, they know their actions can't match their volume. They believe that if they talk enough, If they make enough noise, they can create the illusion of strength. But illusions don't last. The loudest ones mistake attention for power, mistaking visibility for dominance. They crave validation, needing the world to acknowledge them, because without an audience, they feel insignificant. But true power doesn't beg to be seen. It doesn't announce its presence. It doesn't need applause or recognition. It simply exists, silent, steady, undeniable. The strongest move without a sound. They build without broadcasting. They grow without seeking approval. While the weak scream for attention, the strong sharpen their weapons in the dark. And when the moment comes, when the time for talking is over, the noise of the weak will be drowned out by the silence of those who are always in control. Because in the end, it's not words that shape reality, it's action. And the ones who act don't need to speak. Real power is not declared, it is revealed. It is the force that moves unseen, the storm that gathers in silence, the wave that builds far from shore before it crashes with unstoppable might. Those who build in secret, who endure in the dark, who sharpen themselves without seeking recognition, they do not need to announce their rise. Their success is not a matter of chance. It is inevitable. The world watches only when it is too late. By the time they realize what has been built, the foundation is already unshakable. The battle is already won. The weak will scramble to react, but they will always be steps behind, trying to catch shadows that have already turned into monuments of dominance. Real power does not wait for permission. It does not beg for validation. It does not need approval from the masses. It simply moves, silent, relentless, unstoppable. And when it finally arrives, when the world can no longer ignore it, there will be no resistance left strong enough to stand against it, because power that is earned in silence cannot be taken. It does not fade. It does not falter. It simply is. And when it reveals itself, the world has no choice but to bow. A lion does not roar before it strikes. It does not declare its intentions, does not seek permission, does not beg for recognition. It moves with purpose, silent, calculated, inevitable. It does not need to be seen until the moment it decides to be. And by then, it is already too late. True dominance requires no validation. It does not ask for approval or wait for acknowledgement. It does not waste time explaining itself to those who are too weak to understand. The strongest forces in this world do not make noise. They move in silence, unseen, until their presence is undeniable. The weak fill the air with words, mistaking volume for strength. They boast, they seek recognition, they demand to be noticed, because they fear being overlooked. But the strong, they do not beg to be seen. They do not need to convince anyone of their power. They prove it through action, through results, through undeniable impact. A lion's hunt is not announced, it is executed. And when the strike comes, it is swift, decisive, unstoppable. That is the nature of true power. It does not need to be loud, because when it moves, the world listens. Silence is a force that few can withstand. It is the abyss that swallows deception, the mirror that exposes insecurity, the weight that crushes those who depend on noise to survive. The weak thrive on distractions, on illusions, on the constant need to be heard, because the moment the noise fades, they are left with nothing but the truth, and the truth terrifies them. Those who rely on deception, manipulation, and empty words fear silence more than anything. It strips away their masks, leaves their weaknesses exposed, and forces them to confront the uncertainty they try so hard to escape. Without noise to hide behind, without the chaos to shield them. They crumble under the weight of their own insignificance. The strong, however, do not fear silence. They command it. They do not need to fill the void with explanations or justifications. Their presence alone is enough. Their actions speak louder than any words ever could. And their silence, it unsettles the weak, forces them into doubt, makes them question everything they thought they knew. Because true power is not loud, it is felt. And when the strong choose silence, the weak have no choice but to listen. Legacy is not written in words. It is carved into reality by action. It is not built on promises, not on boasts, not on declarations of intent. It is forged through relentless execution, through decisive movement, through the quiet discipline of those who refuse to waste time, proving themselves to the world. The ones who shape history do not seek validation. They do not pause to explain their vision, nor do they beg for recognition. They act, they build, they create. And when their work is done, when the dust settles, the world has no choice but to acknowledge what has been achieved. The weak spend their lives talking, endless words about what they could do, what they plan to do, what they hope to accomplish. But the strong, they simply do it. They do not wait for the perfect moment. They do not ask for permission. They move with intent, knowing that when the results speak, there will be no need for explanations. Because in the end, words fade, promises are forgotten, but action leaves a mark that time cannot erase. And that is the only legacy that matters. The most powerful storms do not announce their arrival. They do not give the world time to prepare, to react, to build defenses. They gather strength in silence, moving unseen, unnoticed, until the moment they strike with unstoppable force. And by then, it is already too late. The patient, the strategic, the silent, they are the storm. They do not waste energy making noise, seeking validation, or proving their worth. Instead, they observe, they plan, they build. Every sacrifice, every unseen effort, every moment spent in discipline is a step toward the inevitable. And when the time comes, they move with precision, with power, with a force that cannot be denied. The world will scramble to understand. The doubters will ask how it happened so fast. The weak will be left in shock, unprepared for the force that now stands before them. But you will not be surprised. You have known all along. You have been preparing for this moment, sharpening yourself in the darkness, growing in the silence. And when the storm finally arrives, the world will not have the luxury of resistance. They will not have time to react. They will have only one choice: to bow before the force they never saw coming. If this resonated with you, if you're ready to embrace the silence, to move unseen, and to let your actions speak louder than words, then hit that subscribe button. This is just the beginning. The journey to silent dominance is long, but it's worth it. And I'll be here every step of the way to guide you. So subscribe now, and let's rise together